Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to slash that subscribe button, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, becoming enraged at Tanjiro's relentless defense, Daki makes a move, rushing at Tanjiro while brandishing her whips. Whilst in mid-air, Daki is halted, as her clothes begin to recombine with her body, freezing her in place. Seeing an opening, Tanjiro rushes in, but Daki smirks, having confirmed the presence of a Hashira. Overjoyed, Daki transforms, straining her own body, and converting her hair white. Having made so much noise, an innkeeper berates the two, demanding they cease whatever they are doing, as it's causing a commotion. As Daki swipes at the insignificant human, Tanjiro rushes to the innkeeper's side, unable to defend Daki's newly profound power. Suddenly, the onlookers and the surrounding houses all perished, as anything within Daki's striking range was cleanly dismantled. Hearing the terrifying wails of the surrounding civilians, Tanjiro begins to see red. Hearing that his son had been chatting with Tanjiro, Rengoku's father apologizes to Tanjiro, asking to be forgiven for his drunken rage during their first meeting. Additionally, their father has high hopes for Tanjiro, knowing wielders of the sun breathing all share the same marking on their forehead. But Tanjiro corrects this, as he wasn't born with the mark, and instead the mark was due to accidents during the past, unlike his father who was born with it. Realizing that he can't bring back the dead, Tanjiro stands firm, promising to kill the demon before him. Attempting to leap away, Daki is caught by Tanjiro, who slices off her leg. Putting space between her and Tanjiro, she hears Tanjiro mutter some familiar words. Shown in Mysterious Slayer, Daki realizes that she is seeing Muzan's memory, shown the only man that Muzan elsewhere. Tengen finishes up, tending to the wounded that have been in slumber, leaving his wives behind. Tengen rushes to assist Tanjiro, as Inosuke and Zenitsu follow. Empathizing with Daki, Tanjiro knows that she must have suffered greatly, and had no option but to become a demon. But Daki shuts Tanjiro up, stating that she doesn't remember anything, and that she would rather be a demon than to die. Disappearing, Tanjiro forces Daki to use her blood demon art, forming a criss-cross pattern with her whips, that will ensure that Tanjiro is diced. Taking a stance, Tanjiro performs a sun-breathing technique, cutting the whips, and burning the tips to prevent them from regenerating. Seeing as Tanjiro has increased in speed, Daki presses Tanjiro, but he simply parries all her incoming strikes. Jumping away, Tanjiro sees an opening, cutting off her head, but realizes that her neck is too flexible for him to fully cut through. Standing back, Tanjiro tries again, this time observing Daki's movements, only to outclass them, making his way to her neck. Before he's able to follow through, he's shown an image of his sister, reminding him to breathe. Shocked, Tanjiro begins to choke, being on the brink of death, for pushing his body too far. Daki tries to kill Tanjiro here and now, but is kicked in the back by Nezuko. Standing in for her brother, Nezuko is clearly outclassed, having several of her limbs cut, only to be flung into a building. Taunting the helpless Nezuko, Daki is shocked to see Nezuko's abnormally regeneration, rivaling an upper moon's. Seeing Nezuko transform, Daki manages to sever her limbs, but underestimates Nezuko, who stomps Daki into the ground. As Nezuko continues stomping on Daki's body, Tanjiro is beckoned to wake up, as his little brother knows Nezuko is acting strange. Unleashing her whips, Daki manages to escape Nezuko's hold, cutting Nezuko to pieces, as Daki promises to torture Nezuko, but Nezuko holds her severed limbs together, having congealed her blood. Suddenly, Nezuko uses her blood demon art, igniting her leftover blood in Daki, which triggers a suppressed memory in Daki. Pulling her limbs together, Nezuko presses on, outmaneuvering Daki, kicking and flying her into a nearby building. Chasing after Daki, Nezuko notices a human, who had been caught in the crossfire. Smelling blood, Nezuko becomes overwhelmed, leaping at the human, but is stopped by Tanjiro. Holding Nezuko back, Tanjiro apologizes for putting her through all this pain, but reassures her that he will never put her through that again. Seeing the siblings occupied, Daki states that she is in pain, as her burns aren't healing. Nevertheless, she attacks the two, but Tengen intervenes. Cutting Daki's whips, Tengen ignores Daki, checking on Nezuko himself. Reprimanding Tanjiro for not being able to keep Nezuko under control, Tengen is questioned by Daki, asking if he's a Hashira. Ignoring her once again, Tengen states that Daki is far too weak to be Upper Moon, as he reveals that he had sliced off her neck. Turning back to Tanjiro, Tengen beckons him to figure out a plan, as Nezuko kicks herself out of their current building. Losing grip, Tanjiro decides to sing a lullaby, which is able to calm the flailing Nezuko. Reminded of her mother, Nezuko begins to shed tears, as she slowly reverts back whilst shrinking, falling asleep next to Tanjiro. Back with Tengen, he converses with Daki, who swears she is genuinely the Upper Moon 6 demon. But when Tengen refuses to believe it, Daki begins to throw a fit, whining and crying. Noticing a shadow move behind Daki, Tengen takes a stance, rushing towards a demon, who's emerging from Daki. Believed to have disposed of it, Tengen quietly observes the male demon, pampering Daki, reattaching her head, and healing her wounds. Closing in, Tengen trades blows with the male demon, but is stunned to see it. Praising Tengen's moves, the demon begins listing Tengen's stunning features, jealous of Tengen's looks, whilst tearing away at his own skin. Hearing that his little sister, Daki, was attacked by some slayers, Gyotaro states that he'll repay the favor, tossing his sickles at Tengen. Knowing that Tengen is in trouble, Tanjiro meets with Inosuke and Zenitsu, who promise to buy Tanjiro some time. Learning that Tengen has 3 wives, Gyotaro unleashes his blood demon art, throwing several blood slashes at Tengen. But Tengen counters, throwing some flashbangs, and escaping to a lower floor. Thinking about how he'll slay the demon, Tengen wonders if cutting off both Daki and Gyotaro's neck will do the trick. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like and comment.